Kwame Shala, Kwame Shala, Kwame Shala, Kwam Shala. This is Zephaniah, Yahawashai, Yasha'ala, aka Yah with today's lesson, Genesis 1 of creation. I did this lesson a long time ago. First, I want to say happy Passover and Shabbat. Shalom to all the Israelites out there that's fighting hard in this truth. You know what I mean? Even though some of us claiming not to be perfect, we battling, we doing stuff to the best of our ability. And just fighting hard in this truth. So happy Passover, feasting of unleavened bread. Going in this class, Genesis 1, going into the creation. It's understanding that came out about Genesis 1. That ain't right. That's all. That I was thinking a while back, but further research and meditation, that's not correct. So what's been going on in Israel? Go all the way back to my first class. I said something about these schools. Like, you can't get caught up in the garments and big schools and all the glitz and the glam, the smoke and the mirrors of this truth. You can't get caught up in all that. You can't get caught up in all that. The main schools, I ain't told my wife. You know what I mean? Stuff ain't what stuff seem on the surface. I ain't even gonna call them out. One school, they did a Passover at a strip club where they said the women that you seen wasn't strippers. But Negro, why would you have a Passover in a spot like that? Then a brother that did a video about it caught y'all lying about y'all don't go to strip clubs and all. A woman don't have to be a paid stripper to be stripping. Okay, if they doing a ball night, if they naked, they strippers. They're seductress. They there to seduce men to buy drinks and to keep coming back to that club. You know what I mean? That's wicked as hell. So one, you shouldn't even been there. You had to justify yourself all like that. You talking about you a priest and all that. Then the other two schools, one of them claim they got all the truth. They don't even wear fringes on their garments. They just look like a motorcycle gang. Niggas with motorcycle gear, this warrior gear on. And the other school puffed up too. Because these schools got the spirit of their leader. So I'm not blaming the schools the way they're being ran. I ain't blaming leadership spiritually. Even this other school, they doing stuff kind of the white, showing you how to be an Israelite and all that. But that leader of that school is a hypocrite and always running his mouth. Will get his butt dissected. You know what I mean? Be banned false witness and all that. Not going for none of that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm sincere. You don't like it? Go listen to these fake brothers. Because when I'm doing a class, it's going to be one of the realest classes. And I'm really going into the scriptures and breaking it down. I'm not faking. What else? They another school that act like because they got a couple schools and they growing. Negroes, everybody playing their roles in this truth. Your role might just be to bring a lot of people in, then die. You can't get caught up in it because you playing a role and it's working. That could just be your role. Because when I see wickedness on brothers, they hypocritical and all that. They right in all these areas, but in this area, they hypocritical and you not 100% even, Negro. You casting stones. You need to look at the beam of your own eye. You know what I mean? Because this same brother He got mad because he couldn't understand something and couldn't wait to go back and do classes. Basically, he was talking about me. I was the only one that brought that out that week. And then got mad because I did 8 lessons on it. I already done meditated on it for months and found all the scriptures and the understanding and put it together. They wasn't ready for it, so they got mad and banned false witness talking about wicked apostles not knowing the scriptures. Because I called that fake stuff out about an evening is a day. And Christ tell you in Matthew 12 and 40 about Jonah, 3 days and 3 nights. So if Friday evening and Saturday evening is a day, then when is the nighttime? Or even morning to morning. When is the nighttime? So brothers didn't search that out. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's a lot of stuff to go into this book. This book is multi-layered and it's going into a lot of different things. Ain't nothing wrong about if you don't know something, no matter what your status is. But you can't scoff against brothers like the same school I'm talking about. They scoffed against the 13th moon. Now they teaching that. So it just showed me you a hypocrite. And you go back to my first class, I said that we all following y'all. But once I start seeing wickedness from leadership, I'm not planning on joining none of y'all. I gotta start my own thing. So it came on my spur to start my own school. You know what I mean? You know, it's. I said that I'm not following brothers. You know what I mean? Once I start seeing stuff going on in the schools, you know, brothers wonder why a lot of brothers talking about individualize. I'm not by myself. It's just the people with me, they not ready to be in the classroom yet. And what else going on? Somebody in that comment board from this one school, they puffed up too. He said, y'all leaders need to get together and figure this stuff out. Y'all believe in the same book, which is true. Y'all follow the same God, which is true, but y'all don't believe in the same things. And y'all beefing over that. This person in the comment board said, until y'all get that fixed, then we'll follow y'all. They was typing it like they was Benjamin or something, the way it was worded. So just go to show what I was saying and saying in the spirit and physically saying, I'm not lying. My spirit not lying to me. What I'm saying is legit. Because you know what I mean? Leadership either teaching separation or they either teaching they got all the truth. And leadership, all one school, leadership always scoffing at a new understanding come out. You can't possibly be studying every aspect and angle of this truth at the same time. So you're going to have brothers that's going to come out and make discoveries. You're not going to discover everything. The Most High didn't put his truth in one man, in one seat, in one school. To have all Israel follow this one man. You trying to say you Christ then, Negro. Tired of these Negroes, man. They don't understand we all playing roles. Like I understand my role right now is to go into stuff brothers ain't trying to go into and add other levels to the scripture and advance the knowledge of the scripture. While I'm battling, dealing with my household, my family, all that stuff at the same time. I'm homeschooling 2 children, 5 and 2. You know what I mean? I'm doing real studying, researching, and teaching. Not just me, I'm teaching other people around me all the way down to my children homeschooling. So, can't no Negroes make me discouraged about how I'm operating and what I'm teaching in the truth. You know what I mean? And that just go back to prove it don't matter about how big your school is. None of them big schools, that stuff don't matter. All of them got dirt in their schools that I can call out. But as you see, I didn't call nobody names and nobody's school. If you've been in this truth long enough or you keeping your ear to what's going on, you will know who I'm talking about. You know what I mean? None of these Negroes act puffed up. They will get dissected and called out. You know what I mean? Come up against Sith Lord Tiger, servants in the house of the Lord together in God's eternal righteousness. But anybody out there thinking Sith Lord Tiger talking about Star Wars. Yeah. So, what else going on? I'm growing, I'm prepping. You know what I mean? I was supposed to throw some seeds down in the bag. Give a quick preview. Where is it? All these seeds right here. These packs to put fresh seeds in. All these different seeds. All these different seeds. All like type of different stuff you want. Thousands of seeds right there. Kales, whatever you want. I got thousands of seeds just in this one little bag right here, like 10,000 seeds in this one little bag. And I got seeds I've been storing for fresh organic tomatoes, green peppers, like the rainbow peppers come in a pack. I'm glad I just remembered that. Put these seeds up. I got more seeds right here I got from the house. I'm not faking it, it's true. None of you Negroes wondering about the tiger. Nah. I'm trying to be a perfect Israelite. A wise man, a warrior, a farmer, and a family man. What's this? Concord grape. Sweet tomatoes. I'm going to put these in my little grow bag outside. I'll start my garden and stuff. I got to build my raised flower beds and all that. I'm going to do another episode of Getting Back to Your Roots. Rainbow peppers, about 200 seeds. Super sweet organic red tomato seeds. More green peppers, rainbow peppers. Like, I'm not playing. I ain't even buy my seed box yet to be for my seed bank. This ain't nothing. Try to have over 100,000 seeds by the end of this year. I'm not playing. Chickens, lambs, all that stuff, I'm on the way to get. I can have that stuff now, but I gotta make preparations for it. Not playing around, Negro. Negroes be running their mouth. These Facebook prophets and YouTube. You gotta get this truth out some kind of way. And I know they ain't talking about. That's talking about these puffed up niggas on Facebook and these niggas on YouTube. You know what I mean? That's all you seeing from them. They not really doing no classes. They doing like a video, pull a scripture here and there, and they doing mostly talking and all that. Not really no real class. Nah, I'm an open book. Every time I do a class, I'm letting you know what I'm doing, what I've been doing recently, what I've been saying, and what direction I'm going into. You know what I mean? I'm on my way, setting this line up, everything. Ain't no plan. Ain't no plan. So let's get it in. First, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High Yahawah, the God that created this marvelous heavens and earth, the God that you should fear. Thank Him for the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, the faith, grace, and mercy, the fortitude, the resolve to keep battling in His truth. Thank Him for my children in His truth. Thank you for keeping me alive long enough to discover that to really grab hold of this truth. Came across it a few times on my journey. You know, thank him for all the blessings this far. And you know, thank him for the spirit, the warrior spirit to keep battling against all odds. I don't care about what no brothers feel or how they feel about me, what they talking about me. My email out there, you know what I mean? Any elders or anything wanna cause don't make no throw no little shots against me talking about wickedness and all that, some subliminal stuff. I'ma go at your school. Cause that's off as hell. If you don't know me, and if you got a dispute with something I'm teaching, hit me up. We can go over and discuss it like men. Or if you want to have spiritual war, we can do that. This ain't carnal, it's spiritual. We fighting for the truth against Israelites and heathens. So I don't care about this soft, effeminate stuff. It's stumbling blocks in the truth and it's curses in the truth. So everybody in the truth not righteous. Not saying they can't become righteous or strive to be that. Everybody in the truth can't get disappointed when you see wickedness on them. You could be disappointed but not disappointed. Because it's expected for me. You know what I mean? I can tell when brothers not really studying, not really meditating, they making assumptions. They got a hating nigga spirit on them, a jealousy spirit, an envy spirit, a preeminent spirit. Come on, man, I see all that stuff. A get with spirit, a yes man spirit, in the sight of men spirit, men pleasers. Oh man, I see all that. Green Negroes coming to truth, all they understanding coming from their elder. They can't think for themselves. I see that too. Man, ain't nothing get by me in this truth, man. So if you think about coming for me, you better have all your ammunition ready. And please don't try to debunk nothing I'm bringing out in the class. If you didn't, don't scoff against nothing I'm bringing out in the class without doing no research. You know what I mean? I'm gathering with brothers. I was gathering with brothers from different schools. I tried to get over the brother from IUIC, but they teach. They don't want you congregating with no other schools or nothing. So that means they teaching separation. Where that's coming from? That's coming from up top. All the main schools do, except HOI. They congregate and they congregate and do unity camps or whatever. They try to congregate or whatever. You know what I mean? So my point is, these main schools ain't no need to be puffed up. None of y'all. All y'all got dirt on y'all. I can clearly see and can bring out. Don't get starstruck, Israel, about these schools. Coming this truth. Take 5 years studying this truth. Studying schools. Working on your spirit. Studying a book before you make your decision to either start a school or join a school. That's what I did. I ain't no green brother out here. All the stuff the Most High fire he done brought me through. I see through brothers. Ain't no way they can twist and turn, because I don't forget stuff people say. Key stuff. If you're a hypocrite, it's going to be exposed. You're a liar, it's going to be exposed. You're a whoremonger, it's going to be exposed. If you fake studying and meditating, it's going to be exposed. The whole rack of spurs that's going to be exposed. You know what I mean? Not in this truth playing and faking and wasting nobody's time. You know what I mean? I'm in my book, literally in my book, and translating it to my life. So like I keep saying, any brothers wondering about me, if he by himself, he an individualite, if he faking when the camera go off, lights, camera, action, cut, and then I take this chain, I take this head garment off, take this off, take this chain off, you know what I mean? Take this shirt off, these fringes on it. You know what I mean? And go back to being a nigga. Come on, man. That's far from the truth. So let's get into it. Books we getting into: King James Apocrypha, King James Bible. And I got more books on the way: Hebrew, Torah, the Septuagint of the Old New Testament, different more. I'm upgrading my understanding of the scriptures, the technical part of the scriptures. Who wrote what book go back to this time period, whatever time period. I'm working on expanding my knowledge, my intellect. The more my house get under control, the more I can expand my knowledge outside my household. I ain't got to keep worrying about Eve and fighting Eve every 5 minutes. Every class I do is about Eve and wicked niggas. It's more stuff Esau teaching lies he got that we need to kill. This wicked clock system, lies about his signs, the sun, moon, and stars that lead to white Christ worship. Astronaut worship lead to white Christ worship. Lying about controlling the weather. Lying about, man, the whole rack of stuff they lying about. Messing our people head up about. I don't want to hear that mess. Ain't none of you brothers gonna stop me from digging in Esau's ass, man, about the lies he got. If you can't teach it, hey, that's on you. Email somebody and ask before, brother, how you seen that? What's the breakdown on that before you scold? Or do a real class to prove if it's wrong or not before you start chirping like a bird. And sitting back in your little chair, putting bass in your voice like that's gonna keep somebody from teaching. Yeah, bro, I'ma keep teaching. Just like you got warriors in your school, it's warriors gonna come out of this school. It's warriors already in this school. I'm about unity and brotherhood. I was raised like that. And farming and growing, being a family man. I watched my grandmother and grandfather stay married 50 years. So that's how I was raised. Been down living on farms and all that. That's how I was raised. Been in the streets about when it was a little bit of brotherhood, where you'll give your last to somebody, giving to the poor, having your brother back. So that's what I'm striving to be, the perfect Israelite, man. I ain't got time to be listening to this sidebar stuff brothers can't prove, and they just want to sit and be preeminent running their mouth and acting like cuz they got more followers than you or a bigger school than you irrelevant or something. When it's truth about killing lies and putting truth out there. Because at the end of the day, what the scriptures say, work out your own salvation. So when a school being wicked, you got to work out your own salvation. You're not comfortable with none of these schools, you got to work out your own salvation. I heard the elder talking about, I see them online, but about it, how they keeping the feast days, they not with a school. But you bashing schools, talking about how wicked they is, but expect people to be in camps. That's what I mean. This particular elder, he called himself a bishop. He a vicious hypocrite. On one end, you talking about you gotta be in a camp. How you keep him? If you studying and meditate, you can learn how to keep all the feast days, Negro. You don't need to be in no camp. I ain't got nothing against camps. Camps are vital and mandatory. But if stuff ain't right, the scriptures tell you had necessary patience when seeking the Lord. You gotta rush and do that yourself then. Until you get comfortable with a school, till your knowledge grow to the point where you comfortable in a school or comfortable starting a school. But you can keep the laws and the feast days with your family. These Negroes got this truth messed up. They be thirsty for likes and subscribers and followers and money. You Negroes delusional. Ain't no one school gonna have 144,000 Negroes. It's going to be people chosen from every camp, school, or whatever walk of life that's in its truth. It's going to be people popping up out of nowhere knowing all rank assortment of things. Negroes act like if it don't come from them, it ain't the truth. They the only ones gonna discover something, but always getting breakdowns, secret breakdowns, going on brothers' channels, getting breakdowns, and come back like like you the all wise elder or something. Negroes phony baloney, man. Genesis 1. Falling for that stuff. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Genesis 1 through 5. So it's saying in the beginning God created heaven and earth. So brothers say, at first I used to believe that it's talking about the earth and the heavens was already created. Then at verse 2, like it's going into the knowledge being passed down to man. The truth, like the truth, the laws was given to man at that point. No. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth as a topic sentence. It's the topic of the whole chapter. When you start a story off or a chapter off, it's always a topic sentence. We about to see. Tell him, I'm going to dissect this stuff all the way down. This proving Christ the whole book. Christ was in the beginning because we brothers believe Christ created everything, but I'm about to show it. Genesis 1 through 5. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Verse 3. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Verse 4. And God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. Verse 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. So that's, you can equate light to knowledge, light and darkness, but that's talking literal, about literal creation. And verse 5 is where he named the ordinance. He set the ordinance. Light he called it day, and darkness he called it night. So how evening to evening is a day? It's separation right there. So that proof is going into literal creation. You got that out the way. Now let's prove that Genesis 1, in the beginning God created heaven and earth, is a topic sentence. Go to Exodus. Go to Exodus. Exodus 1. Exodus 1. Exodus 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. So that's the topic sentence of Exodus. Exodus is them leaving out of Egypt. That one verse that summed up the whole chapter. Lets you know what went down. That's the topic sentence. That's proven. Let's go to verse 2. It give you Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah. It is naming the Israelites. Let's jump down to 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Well, verse 1 explained all that. Now let's go to Leviticus. You got to meditate on these scriptures. My class is technical, and it getting deep into the breakdown of the scriptures. So I know Israel got short attention span. My class is for people who really trying to learn the truth, who really trying to dive deep in the truth. Not no watered down classes with a lot of videos and a nigga talking for the whole however long, and he might pull a couple little scriptures, 2 or 3 little scriptures, and give you a lot of videos in his mouth. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you videos and all that. I'm going to talk to but my average class is like 50, 60 scriptures. Leviticus 1. And the Lord called unto Moses and spake unto him out of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, if any man of you bring an offering unto the Lord, ye shall bring your offering of the cattle, even of the herd and the flock. So Leviticus, let's go to Leviticus 1 and 3. If his offering be a burnt sacrifice of the herd, let him offer a meal without blemish. He shall offer it of his own voluntary will at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. So Leviticus is going into about the Levites and the Levitical priesthood and the law. Verse 1 sewed it up. Moses was a Levite, and he had to talk to the congregation. He's about to give them, teach them about customs of the law and all that. Let's go to Numbers. I'm just showing how in Genesis 1, it's a topic sentence. It's a common theme. You got to really meditate in this book to understand the nearest inkling. Numbers, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai. In the tabernacle of the congregation on the first day of the second month in the second year, after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel, after their families, by the house of their fathers. After their families, by the house of their fathers, with the numbers of the names, every male by their poll. So it's letting you in verse 2 that the father, you are what your father is. You consider whatever your father is. That just proved it right there. But that's the topic sentence of Numbers 1. Let's go to Deuteronomy. We're going through the Old Testament. We're going through the book a little bit to show. Then we're going to dive into the breakdown. Deuteronomy chapter 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on the side of Jordan in the wilderness, in the plain over against the Red Sea between Paran and Tophel, and Laban and Hazeroth and Dizahad. Verse 2. There are 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir unto Kadesh Barnea. Verse 3. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moses spake unto the children of Israel according unto all the Lord had given him in commandment unto them. So that's the topic. Verse 1 on down is reading into it a little bit to show you that it's backing up verse 1. Let's go to Job. It's a topic sentence. Let's go. Now we in Job. Job. Job chapter 1. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright. Nah, Christ was the only one was perfect. And that man was perfect. So you got the potential to become perfect. Being perfect just means you worship the Most High with all your might and all your soul. That's being perfect. You know when you slacking and you BSing, and upright, and one that feared God and eschew evil. Because it tell you a righteous man gonna fall 7 times to get back up. See, what we learn is perfect in the world is not what perfect mean in the Bible. Perfect in the Bible means you worship the Most High, cold-heartedly. Verse 2, and there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. So it's letting you know this is the topic of the whole chapter. Say it was a man from the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect. That's the summary or the topic sentence of the whole chapter. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes chapter 1. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. It's the topic of Ecclesiastes. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king of Jerusalem. Ecclesiastes is a book about King Solomon. That was the topic sentence letting you know what the whole book of Ecclesiastes is about. Let's go to verse 2. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. Verse 3. What profit have a man of all his labor, which he hath taken under the sun? So that's letting you know right there. The sun is the daytime. When the light out, that's the daytime. That's what day is. That's when you do your work. You're not programmed to work at night. You're programmed to go to sleep at night. Let's go to Song of Solomon. It's a common theme. Common theme. Song of Solomon, verse 1. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. That's verse 1. That's a topic sentence. Verse 2. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for thy love is better than wine. But that's backing up verse 1. Verse 1 told you the Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. Talking about the way he was breaking that, the way he was prophesying, or the way he was teaching scripture. Solomon had a lot of wisdom. Let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 1. The visions of Isaiah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, king of Judah. So it's letting you know right there. It's letting you know right there what the book of Isaiah about. That's the summary. Let you know what he was about and who was prominent around at that time period. Let's go to verse 2. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. Verse 3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib, but Israel do not know. My people do not consider. Verse 4. A sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters, that have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward. So that's backing up verse 1. Let you know verse 1 is the topic centers of that chapter 1. Basically, of the whole book of Isaiah. It just summed it up. Let you know who was in that who was ruling during that time. And what he was saying in a vision concerning the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, and Judah, they considered the southern kingdom. So let's get into it. I don't know if I'm gonna have to do. I might just get through it all. Let's go back to Genesis. Go back to Genesis. Genesis 1. Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth, in the beginning, God created heaven and the earth. So that's a topic. That's letting you know what Genesis was about. Genesis is the beginning. And it's letting you know right there that God created the heaven and the earth in the beginning of everything. It's letting you know the Most High is the architect of everything you see. Verse 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So we know darkness is going into wickedness or misunderstandings. Deep also goes into knowledge. It say earth was without form and void, and then it say the Spirit. We know Spirit can be talking about the law or your life force of God moved upon the face of the waters. So it is saying the Spirit of God. It's talking about His knowledge and understanding upon the face of the water. So now we need to see, what is this face of the waters talking about? So what I'm proving in this class, that's talking about the commandments of God going to Christ, the face of the waters, the star creation of, you know what I mean? Because when you jump down to 26, verse 26, it say, and God said, let us make man in our image. So who is this us and our? So that's further that you know in the earlier chapters in verse 1, it's not talking about nothing going to man. Man wasn't even created yet. Why would you create man and then create all the animals and the plant and all that? You got to have the setup first, and then your manager. You can't hire a manager and you don't got your store set up yet. You hire your manager to operate your store. The Most High created man to operate His earth. But how is you going to do that if it ain't, you put man down here and ain't nothing down here? So when stuff finally start popping up, man going to be suspicious. You literally going to have to see work taking place. How the oceans get filled up, the jungles, the land, this and that. So everything had to be set up first, and then man came on the scene. It only makes sense, right? Let's go to Isaiah 45. Let's prove. Isaiah 45 and 18. For thus saith the Lord that created the heavens, God Himself that formed the earth and made it. He established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I am the Lord, and there is none else. So Genesis 1 is talking about the literal creation. Because without Genesis 1, then evolution can creep in. There's no documentation of the creation, the time period of creation and all that. It just, all this stuff is talking about teaching. Come on, man. This book is literal and not literal. It's literal things and not literal things. That creation story is literal. That's how God giving us proof that he was the orchestrator of everything you see. He making this declaration in Genesis 1, the Most High making this declaration to man. Look here. All this stuff is mine. I made all this stuff. Y'all just visitors. Y'all visitors that got an extended stay. I was here before all y'all, for all that. I created all this stuff. It's my creation. Don't forget about me. Let's go to Second Esdras. Second Esdras, chapter 6, verse 38. Prove it. 38, 39. And I said, O Lord, thou speakest from the beginning of creation, of the creation, even the first day, and said thus, let heaven and earth be made, and thy word was a perfect word. So the Most High gave the commandments for the creation. How they created all the stuff, I don't know. It's not going to be detailed on how the Most High created atoms and molecules and how they put this together and that together. No. That's too much information for man to try to grasp. 39. And then was the spirit and darkness and silence were on every side. The sound of man's voice was not yet formed. It's saying the same thing in Genesis 2. And then was the spirit and darkness and silence were on every side. The sound of man's voice was not yet formed. So Second Esdras 6 is going into Genesis 1. Let's go back to Genesis 1. To prove that's what it's talking about. It say Genesis 1 and 2, and the earth was without form. Second Esdras 6 and 39, and the spirit and darkness and silence on every side. And Genesis 1 and 2, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So this gonna drop the mic on talking about man was already created at that point. Second Esdras 6 and 39. And then was the spirit and darkness and silence were on every side. The sound of man's voice was not yet formed. And then was the spirit, the law, the knowledge, the wisdom, understanding of the Most High, and darkness. There was no understanding of the Most High in existence yet. And silence were on every side. No matter where you looked at, it was silence. Creation hasn't started for man yet. The sound of man's voice was not yet formed. So man wasn't created yet in Genesis 1 and 2. So that's further letting you know it's going into literal creation. Now let's go back to Genesis 1 and 2 again. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Let's go to Job. Job 13 and 21. Withdraw thy hand from me, and let not thy dread make me afraid. 22. Then call thou, and I will answer, or let me speak, and answer thou me. 23. How many are mine iniquities and sins? Make me to know my transgression and my sin. 24. Wherefore hidest thou thy face, and holdest me for thy enemy? You know what I mean? So we going into right here, we breaking down form and void, is letting you know right there. Wherefore hidest thou face? Talking about a literal face. Or you can say it's talking about, and holdest me for thy enemy. You talking about face, the face, matter of fact, the face that is going into the Most High knowledge and all that right there. Talking about the Most High knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, that face. And holdest me for thine enemy. Why? Because he ain't got the knowledge of the Most High. The Most High basically not dealing with you. Let's go to Psalms. Psalms 104 and 29. Thou hidest thy face, they are troubled. Thou takest away their breath, they die, and return to dust. So the Most High face is talking about his knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And that breath is talking about the spirit. They die and return to dust. Let's go to verse 30. Thou sendest forth, see look, thou sendest forth thy spirit, they are created. Thou sendest forth thy spirit, they are created. The glory of the Lord shall endure forever. The Lord shall rejoice in his works. Talking about literal creation. Go back to Genesis 1. Genesis 1, chapter 2. Chapter 1, verse 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Verse 3. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Jump back over here. Psalms 104 and 30. Thou sendest forth thy spirit. They are created. Didn't it just say over there, the spirit moved upon the face of the water? And right here say, thou sendest forth thy spirit. They are created. And thou renewest the face of the earth. So it's going into works and all that. They are created. Renewest the face of the earth. Let's go to 1 Kings. Start talking about literal creation. 1 Kings 13. First Kings 13, 5 and 6. The altar also was rent, and the ashes poured out from the altar, according to the sign which the man of God had given by the word of the Lord. Verse 6. And the king answered and said unto the man of God, entreat now the face of the Lord thy God, and pray for me. Meaning to search out the Most High, that my hand may be restored me again. And the man of God besought the Lord, and the king's hand was restored him again, his power, and became as it was before. Let's go to First Chronicles 16. First Chronicles 16. First Chronicles 16 and 11. Seek the Lord and his strength. Seek his face continually. Let's keep going. Job 9 and 24. The earth was given into the hands of the wicked. It's talking literal. It was really given to another people to rule. You know what I mean? They cover the faces of the judges thereof. That's literal and spiritual. They cover the faces of the judges thereof. It's literal that the people the earth was given to the rule, but it said they cover the faces of the judges thereof. They cover the knowledge of the Israelites, the real rulers of this earth. Judge means rulership. To be a judge. They cover the face. The wicked people that the earth was given to, they gonna cover up the face of the judges thereof. They gonna hide the nationality and the knowledge of these people, these certain people, which we know is talking about the Israelites, the Negroes, and the descendants from the Negroes. Let's go to Exodus. Exodus 16. I've been up since 4 or 5 o'clock at night, in the night hours. Exodus 16, 14, and 15. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as a hoarfrost on the ground. Verse 15. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said to one another, it is manna, for thou wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, this is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat. That face right there is talking about the face of the wilderness. It's talking about the knowledge of the wickedness. The face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost on the ground. You know what I mean? It's talking about not wickedness and righteousness. Let's go to John. John 6. John chapter 6 and 48. I am the bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness, and are dead. Verse 50. This is the bread that cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, and which will I give for the life of the world. So that's proven. That's proven in Exodus. In Exodus, it was that bread with that face of the wilderness. You know what I mean? And right here, it reiterated that about the wilderness. So that face is going into about knowledge. Let's go to let's go back to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 31 and 16. And the Lord said unto Moses, Behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and this people will rise up and go a whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land, whether they go to be among them, and will forsake me, and break my covenant which I have made with them. Go to verse 17. Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them and sake them, and I will hide my face, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them, and that they will say in that day, are not these devils among come upon us, because of God is not among us? Verse 18. Verse 18. And I will surely hide my face, and I will surely hide my face in that day. So we know it's not talking about the Most High face, because he said no man can see his face and live. And I will surely hide my face in that day for all the evils which they shall have wrought, in that they are turned into other gods. Let's go back to Exodus. Exodus 14. Exodus 14 and 25. And took off their chariot wheels, that they drave them heavily, so that the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians. Free from the face of Israel. Just letting you know again right there. You can say it's literally talking about let us get from around these Israelites, or that flee from the face is talking about that's basically get away from the Most High. Let's do what we got to do. So basically, so we don't be getting judged by the Most High. You know what I mean? The face of the Most High. His knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And so that's going to be judgments in there, blessings, curses, judgment, everything. You know what I mean? Let's go to let's go back to Genesis. Genesis 32. Genesis 32 and 20. And say ye moreover, behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goeth before me, and afterward I will see his face. Pre-adventure, he will accept me. You know what I mean? Let's go to let's keep going. 21. So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. He rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 woman servants and his eldest son and passed over the ford Jabbok. 23. And he took them and sent them over the brook and sent over the land that he had. Keep going. 23. And he took them and sent, 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there was wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. 25. And then he saw that he prevailed not against him. He touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, and he wrestled with him. 26. And he said, let me go for the daybreak, for the day breaketh. Talking about the dawn phase, that's daybreak. It's in the Zonderville. And he said, I will not let there go except thou bless me. 27. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. 28. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God, and with men has prevailed. Let's go to where we at? 29. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed them there. 30. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. So, did he actually see the Most High face to face? No. So that face, no, it's so that face is not talking about that. Let's jump up to 11. He said he gonna see him face to face. Let's go up to 11. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau. For I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the child. Verse 12. And thou saidest, I will surely do thee good and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered. So right here say, deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau. So is that literally talking about from Esau's hand? The hand of his brother, the hand of Esau? Because over here it's telling you the face of the Most High. Where we at? For I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. So I'm showing you how these words is interchangeable. Let's go to Hebrews. Hebrews. Hebrews 4. and 16. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in the time of need. Let's go to Genesis 22. Say we coming to find grace and to seek grace. What we at? Hebrews 4:16. Let us therefore come boldly to the throne of grace, talking about the Most High truth, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in the time of need. Talking about searching the Most High out. His face, Deuteronomy 31:16-18. Talking about his face is mercy. And Exodus 14:25, talking about Yahawah, face of Israel. Let's go back to Genesis 22. Genesis 22. Genesis 22:17. That in the blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed, as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. Verse 18. And in thy seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. Verse 19. So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. Oh, man. That olive oil, that oil in there, in my lungs here. Go to Genesis 33. Genesis 33. It's 1-16. Genesis 33:1. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came with him 400 men, and he divided the children unto Leah, unto Rachel, and unto the two handmaids. Verse 2. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. Verse 3. And he passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. Verse 4. Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck. And kissed him, and they wept. Verse 5. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the woman and children, and said, Who are those with thee? And he said, The children with God, the children which God have graciously given thy servant. Verse 6. Then the handmaidens came near, and the children, and they bowed themselves. Let's see. Verse 7. And Leah also, her children, came near and bowed themselves. After came Joseph near, and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. Trying to jump, see if I can jump down. So, okay. Bowed himself. And he said, What meanest thou by this drove with which I met? And he said, These are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep thou that thou hast enough thyself. Verse 10. And Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand, for therefore I have seen thy face. as though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. He said, and Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand, for therefore I have seen thy face. You know what I mean? If you receive my present, I have seen thy face. I've seen your true intentions. I see what your motives is. I see what your current with your heart is, the spirit of your heart. I see what's in your heart. As thou hast seen the face of God, righteousness. I have seen thy face. If you set my present, that means I seen thy face like I seen the face of God. It's going into righteousness right there. Let's go to Proverbs. Let's see what the face of God is. Proverbs 16:7. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. See that? Let's go to so he told him, Jacob told Esau, you set my present. That mean I seen thy face. Man, he seen he seen what's in his heart. I mean, he talking about his mind, his spirit. And if I seen as I seen the face of God. So it's talking what's going into being righteous right there. You know what I mean? It's talking about righteousness right there. Let's go back to Genesis 35. Genesis 35 and 1. And God said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God that appeared unto thee without fetters from the land of Esau. Um, 35. Where we at? And 1. And God said unto Genesis 35 and 1, and God said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God, and appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau, thy brother. There we go again. Talking about the wickedness of Esau. Verse 2, then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. Garments is not talking about literal clothes. It's talking about righteousness, your deeds, your actions, however you want to put it, your works, your understanding, your knowledge. It's talking about presence. Also, the face of Esau right there is going in. Matter of fact, that's going to talk. That face is talking about presence. It can also be going into wickedness too, but it's talking about from his presence. Genesis 18 to 22. Genesis 18 to 22. And the men turned their faces from thence and went towards Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Lord. So that's talking about left. It say they turned their faces. So that means they was rolling out, they was leaving. It said turn their faces, meaning they went in another direction. It's showing you how these words interchange when they got different meanings. Go back to Genesis 19:13. Let's go to Genesis 19:13. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord. And the Lord has sent us to destroy it. That's talking about from the Most High presence. That face right there is talking about presence. Let's go to Genesis 30 and 40. Because the Most High say his works are not hidden. The works of men are not hidden from his eyes. Genesis 30 and 40. And Jacob did separate the lambs and set the faces of the flocks toward the ring straight, and all the brown in the flock of Laban, and he put his own flocks by themselves, and put them not unto Laban's cattle. So that's talking about arranged right there. And Jacob did separate the lambs and set the faces of the flocks. That face is talking, that's going to arrange. I arrange something. Let's go to 2 Kings. 2 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 9 verse 37. 2 Kings 9 and 37. And the carcass of Jezebel shall be as dung upon the face of the field in the portion of Jezreel, so that they shall not say, this is Jezebel. That's talking about the literal ground. That's talking about the surface, the face of the field, meaning the surface of the earth. Field going into the earth. Talking about that's what Jezebel gonna be lying at. I mean, like she's gonna be laid by a dead body, gonna be laying at. Let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah 14 and 21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. So face right there is talking about the surface of the earth. The surface. Let's go back to Job. Job 38. Job 38 and 30. The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. And the face of the deep is frozen. It's talking about on the surface of the literal and the face of the deep is frozen. Waters freeze up. Let's go to 29. Out of whose womb came the ice and the hoary frost of heaven? Who have gendered it? Verse 30. The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. So that can be going in the literal Arctic, when water freeze over. That's the Most High telling you who does all these things. Or that's going to be talking about knowledge hid with a stumbling block, and Yahweh wisdom is hidden. Read it, see it on that level. The waters are hid, the Most High knowledge, as with a stone, a stumbling block, and the face of the deep is frozen. The Most High wisdom is hidden. Let's go to Job 40. Job 40 and 16. Lo, now his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. No, 40:6, Salakia. Then answered the Lord unto Job out of the whirlwind and said, Gird up thy loins now like a man. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou also disannul my judgment? Wilt thou command me, and thou mayest be righteous? Verse 9. Hast thou an arm like God, or canst thou thunder with a voice like him? Can your power exceed the Most High power? Can your voice be mighty like the Most High? When he commands something, is the question. Verse 10. Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency, and array thyself with glory and beauty. 11. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and behold everyone that is proud, and abase him. Know what I mean? The Most High telling you to put on your righteousness. Verse 13. Hid them in the dust together. Hold on. Verse 12. Look on everyone that is proud and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place. Verse 13. Hid them in the dust together. They're going to go down in the grave together, and bind their faces in secret. Oh, man. The Most High in secret working all this stuff, man. You can't even see the Most High. Man ain't got nothing coming. Here's what that's going into. And bind their faces in secret. Let's go to where we at? Yeah, 13. That's as far as we going. And bind their faces in secret. Most High binding these wicked men, bind their faces in secret. Or that can be going into talking about the grave. Their faces, their presence, their essence, their or their physical form. The Most High say bind it in secret, because it's going and talking about being wicked. Most High telling you, hide them in the dust together, and bind their faces in secret. Talking about going down to the grave. Their faces talking about your presence, your body. If nobody don't see your face no more, what they not seeing? They not seeing your body. Your face being hid in secret, and it say the dust before that. If you buried in the ground and somebody say his face hidden in secret, I mean your body gone. That's what that's going into. Binding their face in secret. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 3. Ecclesiastes 3 and 16. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. 17. I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. Verse 18. I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts, that man might recognize his wickedness. Verse 19. For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts. Even one thing befalleth them, as the one dieth, so dieth the other. Meaning, Wickedness is connected. Men connected in their wickedness. The same thing that killed this one gonna kill that one. That, yea, they have all one breath. They all the same. So that a man have no preeminence above a beast, for all is vanity. Verse 20. All go into one place, the grave, the dirt, the dust. All are the dust, the elements we made out of, and all turn to dust again. You're going back to the earth where the elements was brought out to creation. That's where you're going back to. 22. Wherefore, I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? Come on, man. That mean ain't no man gonna come and let you know what's gonna happen when your ass die. We all human beings is what it's going into. Ecclesiastes 12. Ecclesiastes 12. Ecclesiastes 12 and 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it. So I'm just going into creation right here at this point. So Job 40 and 6 through 13 was talking about putting their flesh in the grave and holding their spirit in secret. You know what I mean? It says send them to the dust and keep their face in secret. Talking about your spirit. That face right there was going into the spirit. Let's go to Sirach 40. They're showing you how these words is interchangeable. To prove when it's talking about literal creation and when it's talking about other things. Sirach 40. 1 through 3. Great travail is created for every man, and heavy yoke is upon the sons of Adam, from the day that they go out their mother's womb till the day that they return to the mother of all things. Talking about the earth. Verse 2. Their imagination of things to come and the day of death trouble their thoughts and cause fear of heart. Verse 3. From him that sitteth on the throne of glory, and to him that is humbled in earth and ashes. So it's telling you right there, the Most High created you, man. He's going to send you back to the dirt. Let's talk about literal creation. Let's go to Sirach 41 and 3. Fear not the sentence of death. Remember them that have been before thee and that come after, for this is the sentence of the Lord over all flesh. You're going to go back to the grave. The Most High created this system. Let's go back to Job. Go back to Job. Back to Job. Job 40 and 15. Behold, now behemoth, which I made with thee, he eateth grass as an ox. Verse 16. Lo now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. 17. He moveth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. Verse 18. His bones are as a strong piece of brass. His bones are like the bars of iron. Verse 19. He is chief of the ways of God. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. What does verse 20 say? Surely the mountains bring him forth food where all the beasts of the field play. So it just over and over the Most High talking about creation, but right there you can go into about wickedness and all that. But the Most High telling Job, can you be like me? The Most High going to creation right there. Talking about how he create beasts and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And if you get another level out of that, let's go to Job 41 again, 41 and 10. None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? Verse 11. Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. The Most High telling you again, all this stuff is mine. I created all this stuff. Verse 12. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. 13. Who can discover the face of his garment? Or who can come to him with his double bridle? The face of his garment. The understanding of his knowledge. The garment is going into righteousness and knowledge and wisdom and understanding. Who can discover the face of it? The understanding of it, of his knowledge. That face right there is going into understanding. Or that face can be going to the righteousness of his garment, of his knowledge. The righteousness of his knowledge, it can be going into also. Let's go to Psalms 51. Just showing you how these words is interchangeable. Psalms 51 and 9. Hide thy face from my sins. Hide thy face from my sins. And blot out all my iniquities. It say, hide thy face from my sins. Hide the Most High judgment. Face right there is going into judgment. When it's talking about hide thy face, hide your judgment from my sins. Why would somebody be worrying about the Most High acknowledging you doing wickedness and he talking about hide your face? Like, you can't tell the Most High, don't pay attention to what I'm doing. It's talking about hide your judgment. Hide your face. Hide your judgment from my sins. Hold your judgment back. Give me time to get myself together. Let's go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel 21. Ezekiel 21 and 16. Go thee one way or other, either on the right hand or on the left. Whatsoever thy face is set. Talking about your mind right there. Face right there is talking about your mind. Go thee one way or other, either on the right hand, righteousness, or on the left, wickedness. Whatsoever thy face is set. See that? Know how you can tell this saying that? Verse 17, I will also smite my hands together, and I will cause my fury to rest. I, the Lord, have said it. So the Lord telling Ezekiel right then and there, like, pick a side. You know what I mean? That's what it's telling him. Or all that's going into, let's see. So therefore, son of man, prophesy, smite thy hands together, and let the sword be doubled the third time. The sword of the slain. It is the sword of great men that are slain, which entereth into their privy chambers. I have set the point of the sword against all their gates, that their heart may faint, and their wounds be multiplied. It is made bright. It is wrapped up for the slaughter. Go thee one way or other, either on the right hand or the left, whatsoever thy face is set. So it's telling whichever way you go, or you can tell them on the righteous side or on the wicked side. Right hand representing righteousness, left hand representing wickedness. Or it could be saying whichever way you go, whichever way you choose, direction you choose to go in, whatsoever thy face, whatsoever thy mind is set. So face mean mind right there. Let's keep going. Nose keep itching. So it's one page though. Let's keep going. 2 Corinthians. Told them to dissect, break all this stuff down. I'm proving with Genesis 1, we're gonna get back to it. The creation. Gotta take you through Robin Hood's bond to prove the different meanings of the word face. Second Corinthians chapter 3. Chapter 3, verse 7. But if the ministration of death, written and engraven in stones, was glorious, so that the children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away. So, right there, it's talking about the face of Moses. The law of Moses. That face right there is talking about the law. Talking about it's going into understand. Let's keep going. Verse 8. How shall not the ministration of the Spirit be rather glorious? Verse 9. For if the ministration of condemnation be glory, much more do the ministration of righteousness exceed in glory. Verse 10. For even that which was made glorious had no glory in this respect, by reason of the glory that excellence. Verse 11. For if that which is done away was glorious, talking about the law of sacrifice, much more that which remaineth is glorious, or the law of Moses. Verse 12. Seeing then that we have such hope, we use great plainness of speech. 13. And not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, that the children of Israel could not steadfastly look to the end of that which is abolished. Talking about the law of sacrifice. Because then back in Moses' time, your butt was going to death. That's why I said we great plainness of speech, and not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, that the children of Israel cannot steadfastly look to the end of that which is abolished. Verse 14, but their minds were blinded. See, they couldn't see. For until this day remaineth the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away in Christ. So they didn't have a full understanding of the law back then. That's what it's talking about, the veil over Moses' face. That's not literal. That's talking about the knowledge of the Old Testament that wasn't known yet. The other level of the law. They couldn't see to the end. Through the law of Moses, they couldn't see all the way to Christ. Because it was carnal. It wasn't spiritual, so it wasn't unlocking no levels in their mind. Let's go to Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 1. Then verily the first covenant had also ordinances of divine service and a worldly sanctuary. See what I tell you? A worldly sanctuary. So the first covenant is talking about Moses. So it's backing up what I read in Corinthians. Verse 6. Now when these things were thus ordained, the priests went always into the first tabernacle, accomplishing the service of God. Where we at? Verse 7. But into the second went the high priest, talking about Christ, the second covenant, the second tabernacle, alone once every year, not without blood, which he offered for himself and for the errors of the people. Verse 8, the Holy Ghost, this signifying that the way into the holiest was not yet made manifest, while as the first tabernacle was yet standing. Verse 9, which was a figure for the time then present, in which there offered both gifts and sacrifices that could not make him that did the service perfect, as pertaining to the conscience. So they didn't have no their minds wasn't clean. Sacrificing and them rituals and all that stuff wasn't making them conscience clean, a sin. They knew they could get away with stuff with sacrificing. Verse 10, which stood only in meats and drinks and diverse washings, and cardinal ordinances imposed on them until the time of reformation. Until the time of the reformation of the law, they was doing sacrificing, giving oblations, peace offerings, all this stuff, these rituals, until the time of reformation, till the time Christ and reformed the law and made the law spiritual. He made the law full and complete. Verse 11. But Christ being come a high priest of good things to come, by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building. We all know the Most High say you don't dwell in buildings made with hands. So this is another way of talking about cardinal ordinances, the cardinal covenant of the first of the Old Testament, of the first covenant. Verse 12. No, jump to 14. How much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God? So Christ came to make the law spiritual. Verse 15. And for this cause he is the mediator of the New Testament, that means of death for the redemption of the transgression that were under the first testament, that they were called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. So Christ was sent to do away with the carnal law. Let's go to Hebrews 10 and verse 1. For the law having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never with those sacrifices which they offered year by year continually make the comers thereunto perfect. Let's read it again. For the law having a shadow of good things to come. So the carnal law, the law of Moses, was the shadow of the spiritual law. It was the shell of the law. And not the very image, not the completion, not the Christ represent the completion. So it say not the very image of the things, can never with those sacrifices. Those sacrifices couldn't mount up to the image of the things of Christ, which they offered year by year continually make the comers thereunto perfect. No matter how much they sacrificed, they couldn't become perfect. Verse 2. For then would they not have ceased to be offered, because that the worship was once purged should have had no more conscience of sins. So if sacrificing and all that would have worked, it wouldn't have, you know what I mean? Their conscience would have been clean. Verse 3, but in those sacrifices there is a remembrance again made of sins every year. Verse 4, for it is not possible that blood of bulls and goats should take away sins. Verse 5, wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he said, sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me. When I come on the scene, I'm not dealing with that sacrifice and stuff. It don't work. I'm the ultimate sacrifice. The Most High prepared me to be the ultimate sacrifice. Verse 6, in burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin thou hast had no pleasure. Christ ain't had no pleasure in doing that stuff because it don't work. Let's go to John. John verse 6. John verse 6 and 32. Then YAHAWASHI said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, Moses gave you not the bread from heaven, but my Father giveth you the true bread from heaven. So Christ let you know why he did. He was up there, the true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that was up there with the Most High. He said the true bread that came from heaven. Christ's nickname is the Word of God. Let's keep going. Revelation 12. Getting around, we proving. Getting around to it. Revelations 12 and 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, and to her place where she is nourished for a time and times and a time from the face of the serpent. It's talking about authority and doctrine right there. Where she is nourished for a time and times and a half a time from the face of a serpent. So a period of time, our understanding and all that going to be coming from the serpent, his kingdom. And his authority, so you know he got the authority to do that for the face of the serpent. Who the face of the serpent? If the Most High the face of the deep and Christ the face of the waters, who the face of the serpent? Esau, the so-called white man. Let's go to Revelations 22 and 4. You digging? Revelations 22 and 4. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. If you literally gonna see his face, you're going, that seed is talking about Being blind in the scriptures is talking about not having no understanding. You spiritually can't see the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Most High. It say, and they shall see his face. They shall understand his righteousness. And his name shall be on their foreheads. What's in your forehead? Your brain. His name, the Most High name, represent righteousness, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. If it's in your forehead, that means it's in your brain. Let's go to Psalms 24:1. This proving what Genesis 1 through 5 talking about. It's called Genesis 1, the creation. All the proving Christ the whole. Genesis 1, the creation, Christ the whole book. Genesis 1, the creation, Christ was in the beginning. I don't know if that's the final title or not, but you get an idea of what I'm going into. Psalms 24:1. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Most High telling he owned his stuff, he created it. Sirach 43:29. The Lord is terrible and very great, and marvelous is his power. 32. There are yet hid greater things than these be, for we have seen but a few of his works. So, you're not going to, the creation story not going to be detailed out. Yeah, he took this and that, made a molecule. And he took this molecule and added this and that, this element and this element and this made. We took photons and did. It's not detailed out like that. That's it's a lot of things man don't know about. But the clues right here went down. Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs 2:1. My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee, verse 2, so that thou incline thy ear unto wisdom and apply thy heart to understanding. Your heart talking about mind, and incline their ear, your attention unto wisdom. Incline your ear going to understanding too, unto wisdom, and apply thy heart to understanding. So that ear, when you hear wisdom being taught or whatever, however you get it, then you apply your heart to understanding. Your mind, what you're gonna do, you're gonna meditate on what you learn. The game, the most understanding you can gain. Verse 3, yea, if thou criest after knowledge and lift up thy voice for understanding. Verse 4, if thou seekest her as silver and searchest for her as for hid treasures. Verse 5, then shall understand the fear of the Lord and find not the knowledge of God. That's go to Colossians 2:3. It's a code book. See, I just was talking about ear and heart. It's not talking about literal ears and heart. The ears on one end, because you got to listen to get the wisdom. But the ear mainly be going into understanding too. If thou will lend your ear to wisdom, if thou will lend your understanding to wisdom, your heart, your mind shall understand. Um, where we at? Colossians 2 and 3. Colossians 2, verse 3. In whom are hid all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. I just showed you right there back in Proverbs where it was talking about he hide his commandments with thee. That's talking about treasures of wisdom and knowledge. What's the treasures of wisdom and knowledge? Secrets about, you're going to have to understand about creation and what went down. What's a treasure? Something that was secret. Treasures of wisdom and knowledge. Let's go to 1 Timothy. First Timothy 6 and 19. Laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold eternal life. Laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life. Let's go to John 3 and 16. A good foundation is to talk going into knowledge in this truth. Let's go to John. John 3 and 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. So in 1 Timothy 6 and 19, it's talking about the kingdom, getting this knowledge and wisdom and all that to get the truth. Let's go back to 1 Timothy 6 and 19. Laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold of eternal life. It's talking about a good foundation in Christ against the time to come. Let's go to John, back to John 3:16. Know what John 3:16, to whoever believing in Christ will have eternal life and all that. Let's go back. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy. I do got some videos. No, not for this. All right. Let's go. Where we at? Deuteronomy 18. Michael had to make this two zones. Start back up. Deuteronomy 18 and 15. So this portion is called the face. We show him in Genesis 1 and say the face of the deep. We proving it's talking about Yahweh. We show him what face can mean multiple things. And the face of the waters is talking about Christ. So we got to prove what face be going into. It say the face of the deep. So we got to prove what deep. We got to prove deep, what deep going into, what face going into, and what waters going into. To unlock that Genesis 1 and 2 mystery. Genesis, Deuteronomy 18 and 15. The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken. Verse 18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee. And I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them that I shall command him. So right there, the Most High let you know right there, that's talking about Christ right there. Moses represent the Old Testament, Christ represent the New Testament. Moses represent the carnal law, Christ represent the spiritual law. So that's what it's going into. Moses was talking about Christ all the way back here. So we proving Christ was always around. Let's prove it. Go to Acts 7:37. Let's prove it. Acts 7:37. This is that Moses which said unto the children of Israel, a prophet shall the Lord your God raise up unto you of your brethren, like unto me, him shall ye hear. Talking about Christ right there. Deuteronomy 18, I seen a debate. They thinking it's talking about Joshua. This prove it's talking about Christ right there. Let's go to Hebrews 10 and 7. Hebrews 10 and 7. Then said, Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It was written of me to do thy will, O God. This whole book is talking about Christ. All the way back then, Moses was talking about Christ right there. But Christ go further back than that. He just told you he the whole book. Let's go to Psalms 40 and 7. Psalm 40 and 7. Then said I, Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me. That's Christ all the way right there in Psalms right there. Right there. Let's go to Luke 24 and 44. Let's prove. Let's prove it. Let's see. Luke 24. Luke 24 and 44. And he said unto them, These are the words which I spake unto you, while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me. It was written in the law of Moses, 18, Deuteronomy 18. And in the prophets, all the prophets were speaking of Christ, and in the Psalms, Lo, I come in the volume of the book concerning me. He's telling you the whole book is concerning him. Let's get some more on it. Psalms 22 and 16. Let's see what else in the Psalms was concerning Christ. Psalms 22:16. For dogs have compassed me. The assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. You could say that's talking spiritual right there, what you going through. But who got crucified? Christ did. That's something else in the Psalms concerning him. David was talking spiritually, but that's concerning Christ though. Christ is of the seed of David. Be saying he from the seed of David, meaning they on the same bloodline. Let's go to Psalms 2. Psalms 2. Psalms 2, 1 through 9. Why do the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord, against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder, and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. Verse 5. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Verse 6. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. Talking about Christ right there again in Psalms. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. Christ ain't returned yet. Verse 7. I will decree the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son. The day have I begotten thee. Verse 8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thy inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Verse 9. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Telling you right there again. It's in Psalms. Let's go to Matthew 10 and 34. Matthew 10 and 34. Think not that I come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. So that's Christ right there again, backing up Psalms 2, chapter 2, 1 through 9. Now let's go to Psalms 107. Psalms 107 and 20. Psalms 107 and 20. He sent his word and healed them and delivered them from their destruction. It's something else in Psalms. He sent his word and healed them. Who the word of God? Christ. Let's keep going. Matthew 5. Let's go back to Matthew. Matthew 5 and 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Let's go back up to verse 17. Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. So it's proven Christ came to make the spiritual law. He came to make the law spiritual. He ain't come to do away with nothing. He came to make stuff better. Let's go to Psalms 119. Psalms 119 and 160. Thy word is true from the beginning, and every one of thy righteous judgments endure forever. Thy word is true from the beginning. Let's go, let's back it up with John 17. John 7 and 16. Jesus answered them and said, YAHAWASHI answered them and said, My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. So that's backing it up. He was sent in the beginning. Let's go back to Psalms 119 again. Psalms 119 and 160. Thy word is true from the beginning, and every one of thy righteous judgments endure forever. St. John 7 and 16. Yahushua answered them and said, My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. Proving right there, he the representative of the Most High. Yeah, it's the Most High word, but Christ the one was sent. His word going into creation and a literal word on the instruction manual on how to live. Christ was he was gifted with the responsibility of the creation and of making sure man got the law. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy 32 and 20. And he said, I will hide my face from them, and I will see that their end shall be, for they are a very forward generation, children in whom is no faith. So that face is talking about the Most High right there. Let's go to Psalms 91. Psalms 91 and 14. Psalms 91 and 14. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high because he hath known my name. I will set him on high because he hath known my name. Go back to Deuteronomy 32 and 21. Did the Most High literally come down and, yeah, man, yeah, how you doing, sir? My name is Mr. Yahweh. Talking about knowing his name is going to talk about knowing his righteousness. It's not talking about, oh, y'all had a conversation, you learned his name when you talking, yeah, Yahweh. No, it's talking about you know his righteousness. That's what the name going into right there. Deuteronomy 32 and 21. Deuteronomy 32 and 21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not my people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. You see that? He's saying he's going to provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. Let's go to John 5 and 46. Yeah, was I in the right spot? Yeah. John. John 5 and 46. For if had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. Going back to Deuteronomy again. But if ye have believed not his writings, how should you believe my words? If you don't believe in the Old Testament, how you going to believe in the New Testament? Because I'm the whole book. For had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. So if you don't believe in the Old Testament, the law, how you going to believe in the faith, the spiritual law? And on another level, it's let you know Christ is the Old Testament too. Because he told you he the volume of the book. So everything they writing is of him. Is the words that he's speaking from the Most High. That's let's go to Hebrews 10 and 7. Lo, I come in the volume of the book is written of me. Psalms 40 and 7. Lo, I'm written in the volume of the book is written of me. Let's go to Psalms 85. Telling you again, he the whole book. So Christ came on the scene before man. It's letting you know in Genesis 1, Christ, the coming of Christ on the scene. Let's go to Psalms 85. Psalms 85 and 12. Yea, the Lord shall give that which is good, and our land shall yield her increase. Yea, the Lord shall give that which is good, and our land shall yield her increase. To let you know right there, he gonna give that which is good, his word. Let's go to John 1 and see. Let's see what the Most High gonna give that's good, and you gonna yield your increase. What he give that's good? Gave sun, sun and rain, and plants and animals that eat, and herbs. He gonna give you that which is good. You gonna yield your increase. You gonna prosper on this earth. That's physical. Let's see the spiritual side of that scripture. What it's talking about. What he gonna give that's good. Let's see how he gonna give something else that's good. The plants, the animals, the herbs, the air, the water, everything you enjoying on this earth. Let's see how it got here. Cause that's what it that's one level to what it's talking about. He gonna give you what's good, cause that is good. But let's see what else is good on how you even got those things. John chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Verse 2, the same was in the beginning with God. Verse 3, all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. In him was life, the literal creation, and the Word, the rules and regulation, the instruction manual on how to live on this earth. And the life was the light of men. See that? In him was life, and the life was light of men. What's the light of man? Talking about the law. Him was life on how to live. But then when you go up and say wasn't nothing made that was made, that's talking about literal creation right there. It's going into Christ created the literal physical creation, and he gave the laws to man too. Let's go to Revelations 19. We digging now. We digging now. Revelations 19. Revelations 19 and 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And his righteousness he do judge and make war. Verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire. He was a wise warrior, and on his head were many crowns. He was the king of the earth, and he had a name written that no man knew, but he himself. And no man can understand the knowledge of Christ when he come back. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. Verse 14, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Horse represent power. It said white horses. That's representing power. And on another level, it's talking about when this earth get invaded, when the beings that created this earth show them, reveal themselves to put the earth back in order. It's going to be a spiritual side, but the most I say, all men going to see is glory. So it's something physical you're going to see with your eyes. Because if it's spiritual, say Esau and them fall, this kingdom fall, we get back on top, but we going to be like, the most I showed is glory. People can debate that. Oh, that was just karma or coincidence. It's stuff people can put right there. But your eyes don't lie. Now if you physically see some stuff go down with the spiritual stuff, it ain't no shadow of a doubt what went down. Let's go to Ephesians. We digging some more. It's going in the face. Going in Ephesians right here. Ephesians 3 verse 9. So then they which be of faith are blessed with faithful Abraham. Let's keep going. Even Oh no, I'm in the wrong spot. Ephesians 3, verse 9. Salakia. And to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world have been hid in God, who created all things by Jesus Christ, who created all things by YAHAWASHI HaMashiach. It say, and to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world have been hid in God. Didn't nobody know but him the mystery of creation and the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding about creation. No bands, nobody, nothing. Who created all things by Yahawashi, who the world wrongfully called Jesus Christ. So that's proving Christ was the first created being that he used to create everything else. Let's go to Ephesians now. I'm digging into it to prove Christ is the face of the waters. We're gonna get into it. About to get into it. Was it Hebrews? Hebrews. Hebrews 1. Hebrews 1. God who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets. So he always spoke through men to do his will. Verse 2. Having these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he have appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds. Verse 3, who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high. So it is proven he's the most high right hand man. Verse 4, being made so much better than the angels, as he have by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. Angels are messengers or servants. You got physical angels and you got celestial angels. You got earth angels that's on the earth talking about man, and you got celestial beings that's angels too. Named the they. For unto which of angels said he at any time, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. And again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be my son. Verse 6. And again, he bringeth in the first begotten into the world, he said, and let all the angels of God worship him. So that's talking about in the heavens on earth and in the heavens. It's different levels through the heavens. You got heaven on earth, heaven up there. You got, the spiritual realm. It's different realms. And the Most High sit in all of them at the same time. He a transcendent being that he in the past, present, and future all at the same time. Let's go to Colossians 1. Colossians 1 and 13. Who have delivered us from the power of darkness and have translated us into the kingdom of his dear son. Verse 14. in whom he had redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins, who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities. Dominions is talking about it's talking about realms or principalities or powers. All things principalities is talking about physics and mechanics, structure, creation. Thrones is talking about rulerships or powers, the knowledge, the wisdom and understanding behind something. All things were created by him and for him. Verse 17, and he is before all things, and by him all things consist. Talking about Christ right there. Let's go to say he is in all things. Luke 24:1. He was the Most High right hand man, his architect. Let's go to Luke 24:1. Luke 24:1. Now upon the first day of the week, very early in the morning, they came into the sepulchre, bring the spices which they had prepared, and certain others with them. Verse 2, and they found the stone rolled away from the sepulchre. Let's go back to 1 though. It say, now upon the first day of the week. So when you go into Genesis, that's the first day that's the first week. It say the first day of the week. So the first day of the week in Genesis, Christ was risen. It's a parable. They go back to back from the beginning to now, when he died as a man. And they found the stone rolled away from the sepulchre, and they entered in and found not the body of the Lord YAHAWASHI. Verse 4, and it came to pass, as they were much perplexed thereabout, behold, 2 men stood by them in shining garments. Verse 5, and as they were afraid and bowed down their faces to the earth, talking about, that's talking literal. They prayed, they bowed down and said unto them, why seek ye the living among the dead? Verse 6, he is not here, but is risen. Remember how he spake unto you when he was yet in Galilee. So it was telling you, men in shiny garments, 2 white men that was righteous, that was dealing with the Most High was dealing with. Mark 16. Mark 16:9. Now, when Jesus was risen early the first day of the week, he prepared first to Mary Magdalene, of whom he had cast 7 devils. Now, when Jesus was risen early the first day of the week, so when you go back to Genesis, we're going to get to it. That's when he was created. It was written the first day of the week. This is a parable subliminal right here. Talking about when he literally died and all that as a man and what happened with that. But it's also talking about in Genesis 2. This book is a mystery puzzle code clue book. Scriptures just don't be meaning one thing. It be layers to these scriptures. Let's go to Revelation 22. Revelation 22 and 1. Now we digging right here. Now we about to prove Christ the face of the waters. Had to go around Robin Hood's barn, just showing the importance of Christ along the way. How important he is and what he means and what he stands for. And how he always been here. And his role is what I'm showing. What Christ's role is. Revelation 22. I had to show different aspects of his role. Let's go to Revelation 22. Revelation 22 and 1. And he showed me a pure river of water of life. Remember Christ said he in him was life, and in that life was the light of men. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb. So it's letting you know right there that the knowledge came through the Most High, through YAHAWASHI. Who is the Lamb? The Lamb is talking about YAHAWASHI Christ. The throne of God and of the Lamb. In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nation. Talking about, you know what I mean? The 12 tribes of Israel, verse 3. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne, let's say the healing of the nations. Christ was sent to heal. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of God and of the Lamb shall be in it. And his servants shall serve him. Verse 4. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. Well, man, Christ is the waters. He said he the pure river. We're gonna get into it. Let's keep going. Go to Revelation 7. Let's keep going. Revelation 7:15. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. Said day and night. Verse 16. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more. Neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. Talking about pressure. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters. For the Lamb, talking about Christ, which is in the midst of the throne, he the right-hand man of the Most High, shall feed them and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. Oh, man. Because the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding ultimately comes from the Most High. So he going to get the glory at the end of everything. Even when it's talk referring to Christ doing this and doing that. But then it gave the glory. It's saying Christ going to give you the fountains of waters, the Most High knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But then it's saying, and God shall wipe away their tears from their eyes. He getting the glory at the end of it. It's him. It's him getting the glory, no matter what Christ do. Let's go to Revelation 21. Revelations 21 and 27. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever work of abomination or make of a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. This whole book is YAHAWASHI book. But they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. So from Genesis to now, this is Christ's book. Let's go to Genesis 2. See, you gotta make it make sense. I linked everything up, show the different aspects and angles of Christ and what he mean, his purpose, from creation to the knowledge part, the coming to change the law, and showing all this stuff was set all the way back in Moses. Let's go to Genesis 2. Genesis 2 and 8. And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. Verse 9. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's that tree is talking about. So when you go back to Genesis 20, Revelation 21 and 27, let's get it again. And there shall in no wise enter into it, talking about the kingdom, anything that defileth, neither and there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever work of abomination or make of a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. Genesis 2. And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. Verse 9. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Christ was all the way back then. It is told you the Lamb's book of life. This whole book is his book. And it's telling you about the tree of life right here. It said the Lamb's book of life. That's what this tree of life talking about. Let's get some more on. Get some more on it. Sirach 19:19. Let's see what the tree of life is to prove that the Lamb's book of life. Let's get deep on this Lamb's book of life. Sirach 19:19. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality. That's Sirach 19:19. It's telling you the fruit of the tree of immortality, the Lamb's book of life, the tree of life. Where do fruit come from? A tree. Let's go to second address. Let's get some more on it. Second address 8. Second address 8, verse 50 through 56. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. It say, but understand thou for thyself. At the end of the day, you got to worry about yourself. Can't worry about no camp, no school. You got to worry about yourself. This truth not based on if you in a school or not. It's based on yourself, what work you doing. That's not saying don't congregate and try to congregate. But when all else fails, you got to rely on what you doing in the truth for yourself. You can't rely on people to help you, to show you, to drag you along, or to hold your hand. It's what that's talking about. And it's telling you to be with people that's like thee. Search for people that's like yourself. 52. For unto you is the paradise open, the tree of life is planted. So it's telling you right there, the most high knowledge, wisdom, and understanding through Christ is the tree of life. It say the tree of life is planted. Tree of life is talking about the most high knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The time to come is prepared. Plenteousness is made ready. A city is building, and rest is allowed. Yea, perfect goodness and wisdom. 53. The root, that rest is talking about righteousness, is talking about living a good life. Yea, perfect goodness and wisdom. 53. The root of evil is sealed up from you, weakness, and the moth is hidden from you. And corruption is fled into hell to be forgotten. Moth is something that eats up clothes. So what would a moth eat up? Your garment. If a moth eats your garment up, you ain't got that garment representing knowledge. It say weakness and the moth is hid from you. And corruption is fled into hell to be forgotten. 54. Sorrows are past, and in the end is showed the treasure of immortality. 55. And therefore ask thou no more questions concerning the multitude of them that perish. 56. For when they had taken liberty, they despised the Most High, thought scorn of his law, and forsook his ways. So we're just backing it up. Now let's go back to Genesis 9. So I went through all the scriptures to prove. It's to get an understanding now. This is about the face. Genesis 1, 1, 2, 3, and okay. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. That's a summary, a topic, sentence. Verse 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. It say the earth was without form and void. It wasn't created. It wasn't no knowledge of the Most High, nowhere. The earth was mapped out, was blueprinted out, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Wasn't no knowledge, wisdom, or understanding about the Most High knowledge. The face of the deep is the Most High. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. The Spirit is His law, His commandments, moved upon the face of the waters. Verse 4. Let's prove it. So soon as, verse 3. As soon as the Spirit moved upon the face of the waters, verse 3. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. You can't create nothing without light. So light was the first creation, even before the earth. Verse 4. And God saw the light was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. They two different elements, they two different states of existence. Light and dark. They two different states. And you could say that's spiritual, whatever, but that's talking about literal creation. Let's go to verse 5. And God called the light day. Now He's setting a decree what it's called. The light day and the darkness he called night. He's starting to establish what everything is going to be called. And the evening and the morning were the first day. He establishing the blueprint of everything. Stuff is being created right there. This earth is blueprinted out. It's letting you know right there. In the evening and the morning was the first day. It's literally letting you know from morning to evening is one day. That's why I say and the evening and the morning. But in Hebrew, we read from right to left. If you read it from right to left, it say the morning and the evening. The sun come up in the morning and go down in the evening. That's one day. Then you go through the twilight to nightfall. Nightfall to start of night. And nightfall go all the way to the dawn. Dawn is the end of the night phase. And you transition into the day phase, which is the morning. Come on, let's go. Let's jump to 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days, for years. That's a decree what the light gonna be for. That day and night gonna be two different things. Brothers try to join all that together and call it a day. Don't even make sense. Verse 15, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. Verse 18. And to rule over the day and over the night. Genesis 1 is going into the creation. It's going into creation because when you read from 9 on down, it's talking about when the land appeared and all that stuff. It's going into creation, Genesis 1. And on that note, this episode 1 was going into the face. Genesis 1, the creation, and YAHAWASHI from the beginning. The creation of Genesis 1, the creation of YAHAWASHI. So now we going into the deep. We're gonna go on episode 2 about the deep. What the deep going into. So that note, Shalom, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Zephaniah, treasure warrior spirit for the Most High Yahweh, spiritual assassin for the Most High God, Yasha'Allah, Israel, aka Yah Mordecai, wise warrior for the Most High Mighty One God of Israel, coming from Sith Lord Tiger School of Truth, servants in the house of the Lord together in God's eternal righteousness. Stick together, y'all, and hoping everybody have a blessed Sabbath. Stick together, y'all.